leader with 27 years of global experience, decade in the US and the rest in India. He's an active angel investor. He's a founding chairman of the Native Foundation here in Tamil Nadu, where they try and promote entrepreneurs in second-tier cities and so on. They have done 7 investments there, touching over 120 startups, 37 colleges. He's an advisor, mentor, and resident at IIM Bangalore. He's on the investment committee at IIT Madras. He's a mentor at IIM Ahmedabad. He's a board member at Madurai Agriculture Business and several other incubators. He's also advisor to several incubators around India. He has 23 investments. He's on 12 boards right now. And earlier in his career, he was working with one of the largest enterprise software company where he was president for South and Southeast Asia. He currently resides in Bangalore. He holds a BE from Nagaraja College of Engineering in India, an MBA degree from San Diego State University in the United States. Welcome, Naga. Thank you very much for spending the time with us. We're delighted to have you. Maybe you can set the pace before people start asking you questions. Ask me anything, and you've been very kind and say, ask me anything. So they can ask you anything, hopefully, about startups and entrepreneurship and innovation. So over to you, Naga. You are on mute, Naga. Please unmute. You're on mute. On the right-hand side, on the bottom of the computer, you have to unmute yourself. If you touch the screen, something will come up, and then you'll see a mic. Just click on it.
Got it. So, good evening, everyone. I think I was told quite a lot of people from the health startups, maybe focus on this incubator, right? I think good evening, everyone, and this is an unusual circumstances. Probably I would have loved to meet you all in person in a different context. We are where we are. I think as an entrepreneur, you can always probably take a look at what is happening around and get a gloomy feel. I've read that report, this report, 64% of the startups are going to fail. What am I going to do? Or you can start looking at some of these initiatives to understand how best I can leverage this crisis into an opportunity. I think you all have chosen the latter, which is pretty good. So with that context, I just want to quickly probably tell, I think, few minutes. What I feel is the current scenario and how best you can leverage. I think what I've seen is this crisis of a century. But I think after the initial shock, I think in the first few months, I've done many AMAs, and I was urging many of the entrepreneurs to look at what I call as a pivot to adapt, right? Because this is the best time to start repurposing your skill and can achieve and solve these crises as well. And if you're a solution or have a solution during this crisis, you hardly won't need any marketing support because there is a demand, there is a need already has been clearly demonstrated very well. But we are now 5 months into the crisis. I'm sure you might have evaluated all that option. I think now you are continuing on a journey, whether it's a pivoted model or it is the original idea that you're working on it. So with that context, I think if you can, there are plenty of opportunities available in current crisis. As an entrepreneur, you always look for problems to solve. I think you have plenty of problems right now. So the number one area where there's a high level of demand is around obviously in the health space, right? The world is struggling to find a solution, and all the money in the world is not able to make things faster, right? So nature works in that certain pace, and we can accelerate that pace with money. So I think that provides an opportunity as well. What and all you can do, whether it is the capacity building today in Bangalore, where I am. I think people are struggling for hospital space, and lot of people urging for the home-based solutions, right? So there is no place. A friend of mine called, and he's trying to move his brother to a hospital, and there is no bed. So I think this is an opportunity, right? Every crisis is an opportunity, and also it's solving a major problem for the country, also probably the world. So anything around the healthcare, whether it is system that you can have for home quarantines, or a better PPE kit, could be reusable, or it could be a ventilator, or you get oxygen out of the atmosphere at home. And is there any other better utilization of equipments that we have? All these things element, right? Even if you can pull a rabbit out and get us a vaccine, all those things are possible, right? Every day I'm getting calls with fantastic ideas. I was in a meeting with Lady Do College in Madurai, and I sit in a board. And so there's a professor who was telling about, hey, I'm looking at a mushroom which has a capabilities to solve cancer. I'm just looking at, is it possible we can use for this as well? So like this, people are exploring all the avenues, and like this, there is no dearth of issue right now. Especially number one hot area is the healthcare. Number two is about essentials, right? People need to eat. End of the day, you can keep locking down, but I think if the farmer is not making food, if it's not processed, if it's not showing up in your doorstep, you're going to starve. So I think the essentials has a huge potential. The entire supply chain, the traditional supply chain is broken, which provides a great opportunity for everyone in that sector to start relooking at how am I looking at the essential, whether it is food, whether it is a waste management, which is essential today as well. There is an expectation that many of these kits, PPE kits, masks, which seems to be adding to the contamination. So the waste management is a very big essential today. So like there's anything around the essential that you're able to work on, that is fantastic opportunities. The third is around the education side. I'm sure the children are at home and the parents are worried, and there is an opportunity for us to take this forward to the children. But it doesn't mean that online alone, right? Because we are a poor country still with hardly 50 million people having a very good internet connection. The rest are all struggling. So it could be a TV, it could be a cable, it could be a dish, or it could be just putting out a loudspeaker in a street. So whatever the way you can take education to the children, I think there's a great potential in these three areas which are very hot right now. And if you are having skills, if you have an ability to commit solving some of these things, and you have a fantastic potential to build business while solving. Because I'll give you 2 3 examples, right? When this problem hit, we had startup Fabric Mond. She was in supplying handlooms for apparel brands, and people are not going to buy shirts these days. So what she has done quickly, she converted all their textile mills or the apparel manufacturer into making masks. Within a week, 3 crore worth of order with advance, right? And we have a startup in agriculture who was helping farmers in inputs, providing tractors and stuff. But the supply chain broke, and he lost the market. So he immediately switched to selling their products. In just 2 months, he's doing 1 lakh a day of revenue selling, these vegetables. My startups in Kerala, we work with farmers, and he grew 300%, right? Because he's working directly with the farmers, and he's doing safe to eat, and using technology with the traceability. And he's only one maybe in the country doing the know your feature. That means that you can understand where my food is coming from. So it's very high demand. He's grown 300%. All the big e-commerce companies calling him for supply. He said no, because I have enough work to do and I have to take care of my customers. And acquisition, right? The Fresh World, one of my startup in agri space, we were selling vegetable using electric carts. And during the crisis, we're not able to put the cart out, and we found a meat e-commerce company which is struggling. We quickly bought this company, Acumen, so that we brought the technology, and we're able to launch online of our vegetables using from our ups using this technology, and he's back to pre-COVID revenue. So this is an opportunity as well to collaborate, merge, so that you're all working together in addressing the problem. This is not the time that I can just stand alone, I can compete, this and that. But if there is an opportunity comes, don't think too much. Start to work together so that you can solve the problem better and faster. So I'll stop at this time. What I'll do is, so can someone, you can probably enter your questions in the chat box, and somebody could moderate, and you can ask me the questions. I'll be happy to answer. Yeah.
Thank you, Naga. There is a question in the chat box. So we usually let them ask directly so they get an interaction with people like yourselves. So, okay, Pradipta, go ahead and you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Good evening, sir. My name is Pratishtha. So we've seen increasing amount of behavioral shifts happening during these times. So from an investor standpoint and a startup standpoint, what would be some of your observations, sir?
Yeah, I think behavioral change in two aspects. I'll add one more aspect as well as a customer as well, right? So, as a customer today, in the last 5 months of lockdown, and seeing the richest country in the world losing, 1.5 lakh of their people, all the billionaires they have, they're not able to stop it, right? So the customer sitting in a home is trying to look at that. What is the purpose of my life? What am I doing? The big house that I bought, my wife running around paying the EMI. We have not even spent the time in the house. The children are brought out by the maids from Bihar. They are left back home, right? So they're just kind of putting back in the perspective, because every crisis makes us to think. I think this, we strongly believe people to think about, where am I going? What am I going to do with my life? And why do we need this kind of resources? Because there are a lot of people already talking about a green recovery, right? Netherlands and Germany. So when we recover, do we want to go back to the planet that we were living in, or do we want to relook at what kind of a planet that we want to build? Because this is maybe a revenge by the nature as well, which we have taken too much of it. So like, it's going to be a good set of people relooking at the sustainability angle. And if you're in that space, there is quite a bit of action will happen. And there is a thing, or some of those already started. I was in a fantastic discussion last night with some global leaders around the same topic. So that is from the customer behavior. From the investor behavior, investor is an investor, right? I'm trying to look for opportunity wherever possible. But whenever there is a crisis, I'm sure some of my portfolio will be in trouble, and that will hurt. But at the same time, I'm here as an investor for a long term. I always look at for opportunities, right? Out of my 25 plus 23 investments, 6 of my portfolio, I had to do a bridge route during this, so that they're able to cope up and come out of it, right? And as I said, one company grew 300%, and now have investors ready to invest. Just before the call, I was late to join. Joined at 5:30 because he just finished a pitch with an investor, and he got the money, right? So like this, if there are people are leveraging what we call the resilient entrepreneurs, there are always room for them, and there are always investors looking for it, right? And we ourselves did the investment in a company called Ulavar Bhumi. Native lead, he's in near Chennai, and he connects the farmers from there to the Chennai customers for milk. And we saw that during the crisis, he's able to grow very well. And we are able to invest during the crisis in Ulavar Bhumi, and he's able to double his revenue right now after our investment. So they're always going to look at potential opportunities, and always he's going to look at his own portfolio, which are potential to come out of it. Obviously, we will support. And there are something which may not have a potential, then always look at a way to repurpose them for a different, as I was mentioned. Yeah.
Great. There's another question from Kamal.
So just an extension to the same question. Have you observed any sort of change from
Could you step, unmute yourself, please? Unmute yourself, Register. Kamal, you go first. She can come back and ask the question. Kamal, go for it.
Yeah, sir, good evening and thank you for the opportunity. It is very nice to connect with you in this forum. And I think I am audible.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah, now we are a very recently started company, and even in the incorporation is yet to be over. But in the meantime, I somehow managed to speak about my ideas and all those things with a few of the persons who are having some capability to invest. And I'm in the stage of entering into a memorandum of understanding with the certain investor. And I just wanted to clarify on some of the points raised by the investor as an investor, like you, from the investor like you. The point is actually the company is now valued for 4 crores and the investor is asking for 49% shares by investing 2 crores in trenches. And in turn, he wants the exclusive right to market the product range for globally. And he is also insisting, if at all, if there is a need for him, he should be free to sell his shares to any other investor in concern with the company.
Yeah,
That is
yes,
my
sir. So this is what we call looks like a strategic investment because there is
okay.
somebody who knows your space and he's willing to market your product. And the
Yes,
good thing is that I think your marketing problems may be solved by having somebody who knows the space. And
yes,
with this is that if you're going with this kind of a deal and at some point you'll end up selling it to him, right? Because you want to
yes,
just of it
yes,
in the
yes,
space. So you have you closed all the other doors. The only one door
yes.
is open, and you need to be aligned with that. For some
Okay,
reason, if that partnership is not working out, and I think coming out of it and then going on your own, it's going to be tough. So that's a call that you need to make because the stake is very high that you're giving. It is not an investor deal; it is a strategic investment, right? It is not
yeah,
a
yeah,
investor who are investing to make money. It is not that kind of a deal. It's what we call strategic investment. If you're okay with that, definitely I think, you can look at it. But working with any strategic investor, you need to be with open mind, right? Because your
yeah,
entrepreneurial spirit is going to be curtailed to an extent because somebody with that much stake in your company and taking care of sales and marketing and pretty much in the hands of these kind of an entity. Yeah. If you have an appetite for it,
yeah. Now,
there's nothing wrong. Yeah.
Okay. We have some more
yeah,
questions
yeah. Now
from. Can I
I will
take?
quickly finish.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I will quickly finish my one more clarification.
Okay, please.
And what about this 49% share, sir? Based on the valuation of 4 crore as
It's
a
very high.
company currently.
It is very, very high. Yeah. Yeah. I would not give
Okay,
anybody
okay.
this much at the early stage because that's what I
Hmm.
mentioned, right? This I won't call there is investment. It it investment by a professional investor. This looks like a strategic investment, right? That means that they want to almost have the control of the company. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sir, is
Yeah.
there any other quick alternatives other than this? Or else, if I want to elaborate this arrangement, what kind of safety measures I can quickly take or negotiate?
That's what you have always an option to take lesser money with the lesser equity and try to
Okay,
do that. Or if they are good in their space, and just make them a channel partner. Let them sell your product and give them a cut. Yeah. So just
okay, okay.
that's
That
the other
also,
way.
they
Okay.
Yeah.
mentioned that also they want to be the exclusive channel partners with the percentage of the profit, and besides, they want this shareholding.
Yeah. So equity don't give that if you because you don't know them. So you start with channel
Hmm.
partnership and give
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Let me negotiate for a channel partnership.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
And
you, sir. Thank you very
exclusivity,
much.
thank you, Naga.
exclusivity.
Next question is someone from UIC Biotech is asked got a question. Please go ahead if you can unmute yourself. Okay, if he's not able to unmute, I will read the question for you. How to evaluate a startup which is yet to make revenue?
Yeah. So which is very, very tough because anyway, valuation of any startup is tough. And early stage is very, very tough. That's why when we do angel investment, we are very just very simple rule. All our investment native lead, we do invest from 10 lakhs to the latest we have done 1.7 crores, right? And see not to take more than 20% of the company at any point, because the entrepreneur should feel like get up in the morning, go to work, and feel it's his own company, right? And we are coming in very early so that he does feel that he's owning the company and have room for future investors. In other angel group, which we do hire, Indian Angel Network, we do anywhere from 50 lakhs to 10 crores. They have a policy up to 30%, and it ranges. We have done deals with 5%, we have done with 25. Things happen. So that is one way of doing that. Go with the people, credible people, and who knows this as the scenario. Otherwise, as you heard in the earlier example, in early stage, people try to take full control of it. Doesn't make sense. That I think they're not a professional investor, but they may be a strategic investment. That is okay. So the second part is about, that is why earlier, like 10 years back, where the role the angel was playing, we were investing in 3 stages of startup, right? Whether proof of ideation, proof of concept, and the proof of business. Yeah. So we used to invest in all the three. Today, the ideation has been reduced, and even proof of concept is reduced by many of us, because the incubators have taken that role very, very well. The hundreds of incubators, and it's been launched in the last 4 5 years, and a lot of money is coming in from the government as a grant for them to invest. So the incubators and accelerators have taken that part from us, majority, right? And most of the thing today is coming to us is in the stage of proof of business. And also, the many of these innovations are not really awesome as well. It doesn't get people get out of the chair quickly. So also say that show the proof of business, right? So if they're an early stage, it's best to probably align with some incubator, work with them. They have very nice policies about I'm at the IIT Chennai. We have grant as well. We have loan as well. We have an equity. So all these things are all pretty good for you to explore and to a stage so that your valuation predictability increases. But startup, the formula called discounted cash flow method from the accounting perspective, which works for maybe a big company which has a lot of data. For a startup, there's no data, right? So you and I are playing astrologer with your Excel sheet, that how much you will be doing, and based on that, we are trying to put together a valuation. So that is either it is a benchmark. So if you see that, suddenly there is a trending sector that we call, right? So suddenly if there is a China-based company got a lot of valuation, like this bike rental, and every bike rental company in India would get a similar valuation, right? Like what happened with the e-commerce, right? After Alibaba got a big valuation, all the company in India was asking for the same. So there has to be some benchmark happening elsewhere that people could copy, or there has to be a ballpark number, and based on their philosophy, people pick up. And so there is no hard rule what the status is. But you know that when it is too high, yeah, don't give too much early on. That is for sure. Yeah. Next question.
Next question. You can unmute and ask whereby has here. Go for it.
Hi, sir. This is Arvind from Vivarva Health. Sir, actually, now because of COVID, lots of people are more health conscious, right? So, how do you see it remaining? As from from an investor point of view, do you think the situation will be the same, or will it improve, or do you feel going back to how it was before, COVID, where people were not that conscious of their health, they are not very compliant also.
Yeah. I think one, as I said, there's few sitting in the house and trying to figure out what am I doing with my life, and other set of group playing cricket outside, right? They don't care about lockdown, this loud, nothing. And when the first lockdown was over, the first 10 hours, Bangalore was collecting 40 crores in the liquor business, right? So there are people of all these three kinds, right? And so I feel that the first kind, the percentage would increase. People are going to think about what am I doing to my health, what is my lifestyle, and what is the purpose of my life. So those thought process is increasing. The second category, there is a lockdown, I'm playing cricket outside. Until it hits them somewhere in their family, they're not going to react. That's second category. The third category, which just waiting for the liquor shop to open and standing in the line, I think that's not your target. Yeah. So I think the potential is increasing, and more people will come into the thought process that we need to be healthier. So that is why I said about the essential, the second part as well, not only about the health in terms of clinical health, they're going to start looking at what am I eating as well, healthy food, where is my food is coming from. And those aspects are also going to play a little bit bigger role. The organic store that I have is doing amazingly well. And many of my friends, I've been invested in the organic store like last 8 years now. Many of the friends of mine argued with me, what is this organic and all that stuff. And I got emails in this crisis about where would I buy products from your store, right? So there's, people on the fence will start looking at it. People never thought about it, might think a little bit. Then there's one set of people, they'll say that it won't happen to us, because we are different, right? I don't think that group will convert it very soon. But I think eventually it needs to happen. So this health crisis looked at in three areas. One is from the environment perspective, right? So this people eating all these things, it's been there for thousands of years, right? Why suddenly these problems are keep coming? So if you look at from the consumer perspective, I want to have a product, but I want it cheap. So in the name of making product cheaper, we were going all around the world, in the name of globalization. Where can I make my product cheaper? And we were all doing everything, right? We were just trying to go to places where things are cheaper, right? You in Chennai, your products coming from Mumbai because you found somebody in Mumbai selling you for like $20 cheaper. So the guy in Mumbai found somebody in Chennai's products $20 cheaper, right? But both of you found somebody in China selling it cheaper. So in the process of bringing the cost down, which is the primary goal of industrial revolution. Industrial revolution goal was to bring the price down. So the machinery was invented so that it can mass produce, so the cost will come down. In that process, we went little overboard, trying to bring cost down every minute of it. To a certain extent, you cannot bring the cost down. So what will you do? You will start put inferior ingredients into your product, right? You want a cheap rice. Here is a rice which is not of that quality. So you compromise on quality. Still, a customer want a cheaper product, then the adulteration happens, right? You want a milk, does it spoil? Here is you have your milk with some urea, right? Or you want a rice with cheaper price, here is rice with some plastic rice. Adulteration started happening. So this is the customer behavior thought process now is about questioning that how is it possible to make a ghee which is 100 rupees for 1 kg, to make 1 kg of ghee for 10 plus liter of milk, right? So how that is possible? So like this, people started looking at this. If I start pushing on price and I'm the manufacturer go out of his way and he lost his credibility because you want to produce and he's reducing the price with lower inferior ingredients, or he started adulterating. So that is one side of this whole angle of what will happen from the health side of it. The second side is about now people start questioning what is in it, what am I eating, what are the ingredients, where is it coming from, and some of those education awareness space you may have a potential. And the third part is about immunity boosting related things, right? So there's traditionally we have quite a lot of Ayurveda products which people were consuming, and probably from Tamil Nadu we always say that your food is your medicine, right? We had that kind of discipline in the Siddha. So some of those will come out as well. One of my investment called Native Special, and sell these authentic sweets from a place of where it's made, and we ship it to anybody who wants. So we used to sell a lot of Tirunelveli halwa to people in the US, right? During the crisis, nobody's going to eat halwa, but we there's a huge demand for this Kabasura Kudini, right? That government Ayush Ministry has announced that as an immunity booster. So our revenue went 300%. We're just selling only the immunity boosters today, right? No sweets, nothing, no snacks, only the immunity boosters, which is your Kabasura, Adutoda, and a few other products. That alone is revenue increased 300%. So like this, I think health can be looked at in multiple angles, not just the clinical angle alone. But clinical angle, obviously, you have a potential more and do it in it remotely. Right, Onam Investment Neurosynaptic Communication, we were a pioneer in telemedicine. Right, we've been fighting for a telemedicine roots relaxation last 10 years. It happened last month. So like this also a crisis. A lot of the pending reforms which sitting there is getting cleared as well. Like our for farmers, APMC things got cleared, right? Which is sitting for decades. Now telemedicine things cleared. So like this, there are many pending stuff is getting cleared, which is good for anyone in startup space who are waiting for some of these clarity as well. So this shirt that I'm wearing, right? One of my startup called Tech, and he used to make shirts for me. And this 2 days back, he had shipped this to me. He said, "This is a what he call is about viro free shirt." I asked him that, give me proof still, but he said it's a nano code with some Australian technology on your shirt and repel any of these, right? So like this, people are inventing from the health angle in multiple ways. He says nano code, it come for like 15 washes, and there is some he just got this technology from Australians, and he started making it available. He made 1,000 of these for healthcare workers in hospital in Mumbai. So like this, the health is coming in multiple angle. That's what I mentioned about utilize your skills, repurpose your skill to the crisis, then you can really go forward. So this person, Premjit, he say that nobody's going to stitch. He does bespoke tailoring, right? I say that nobody's going to stitch shirt nowadays. What am I going to do? But he quickly found this technology and immediately got into repurposing his skills with a different application, and he's doing pretty well. Yeah. So that's an advice to all of you. Yeah. Next question.
Yeah, Srinivasan, you can unmute and ask your next question, please. Okay, I'll ask it. Are you there? Okay, never mind, I'll ask it. How to arrange initial seed fund? Is there any support provided by government or any other organization?
For what?
For seed fund.
Yeah, okay. I just mentioned, right, many of these incubators across the country are doing already these early level support. And on top of it, anything related to this COVID, I think you can search on the internet. There's quite a lot of grants, challenges are happening across the country. DST has a Kavach program. If you have any great idea on healthcare, on the science, I think they will be happy to support you. And Niti Oil has a challenge as well. There are hackathon running on. Even a few days back, I've seen there is quite a bit of things happening in the agriculture as well. And there is a challenge in agriculture also. There was just there's one challenge went out about reducing water consumption in growing paddy by 50%. And there are people willing to fund you and run the challenge. There is more and more of these kind of COVID-related things have come. There is all the VCs have put together an ACT grant as a 100 crore grant. If you're solving anything around the crisis, I think they've already given out quite a bit of those grants. And even there are a lot of crowdfunding campaigns happening, which is very, very successful. So we have one of these organizations run by a disabled people, and she raised for a lot of money to feed the migrant workers. There's another organization raised fund to send the migrant workers back home. And similarly, there is quite a lot of opportunity available for if you are helping MSMEs as well. So there is quite a bit of support announced for MSME, but unfortunately, in our country, there are a lot of them not coming into the system at all. Right? If you are working with MSME, I think we were just talking with Natively 2 days back. We want to do the startup Tamil Nadu event on March. We went to 15 towns of Tamil Nadu. We picked up around 100 entrepreneurs. We wanted to fund 10 of them in March, 15 actually at the IIT Madras, the hall that they built. But we couldn't do it. Now we want to do it virtual. So we met the 20 of them last 10 days, every day, 2 of them. This one gentleman from Kovilpatti, fantastic job. And he is supporting MSMEs, which is below 30 lakhs of revenue. Many of them doesn't even want to come into the system, but government announced big relief package for them and they have no way to access to it. So he quickly working on and bringing these smaller SMEs to come into the system, have a registration so that you can have some of these benefits. So like this, there's quite a lot of opportunities available across different spectrum and leveraging government schemes as well. I think you can search and there's quite a bit available. There are debt also announced by SIDBI. I think if you're part of this IIT incubator, through them you can approach SIDBI for a loan as well. They've announced the startup loan program. Okay, next question.
Okay, Vipin, you can ask the next question.
Sir, suppose we are bootstrapping a startup with small funds. So how do we know that we should pivot or perceive that startup, even if as there may be a possibility that the startup will succeed, but we are lacking fund or it will fail?
Yeah, so I think this one is about you have a vision and you want to work towards the vision. I think it may be little longer for you to achieve that vision. So if you're not able to survive financially successful until you achieve that vision, then you have two options, right? One is about can you repurpose your skill in the interim so that you can survive for a little bit longer, and when things pick up, right? And can you go back to your original vision? Like, so there was this one company, we were supporting. He was making the electric motor for the electric two-wheelers better, right? And so he was looking at how can I do that, because he's like 12 months away before he can get the motor out. But a company working on the product, right, not the product out yet, how he's going to manage. And he saw that this motor technology that he's developing can be for ventilators, right? So he reached out to those people in ventilator. He said, this technology that I'm developing for electric vehicles can be utilized for you and it can improve your performance. And awesome, right? He's able to get to a different market segment. So like this, you can try to look at, can I repurpose my skills to kind of survive, or that skill that you repurpose could become your mainstream as well, right? Like there's one startup I mentioned, which is bringing equipments to the farmers. He makes more money in the last 3 months marketing vegetables than ever, providing their support. So I think post-crisis, I think he's going to not go back to his original way. He will continue with this in a very, very aggressive manner. It's like this is an opportunity to see that do you want to continue with your pivoted model or you want to come out of it at some point in time, you can take a look at it. If you can manage next 6 months and still you can get your product out, then just continue with your vision. And other thing is about your team, right? If you have very frugal amount and renegotiate with your team, ensure that they're taking the basic sustenance, the support they're getting from you, and of it, give them a very generous ESOP package so that it can be with you with the minimum support that you are providing. But when things get better, they are rewarded as well. Yeah. So these are some ways that you can try to do, because this is the best time to look at focused effort as well. So personally, I've seen not crisis of these craziness, but I've seen the '97 Asian crisis where our industry was when I was running the IT company, it was in trouble. We saw the 2000 .com bust happen. There was time we told all our employees that internet is going to be around and this is a temporary problem. So we have two options, and we can let people go and just take away, or all of us take a minimum sustenance amount. Let's work on building our product 100% on internet. So when things pick up, we'll be in a good shape. So I think we all took a big pay cut, and we worked 6 months very hard making the product. Then by the time things picked up, and we came to the market with a beautiful product that many of our competition never thought about, right? And it was an amazing success for us, and all of us rewarded the equity stock that we took, and it was valued pretty good. So it was a win-win. So like this, you can think about it and what is the best approach and achieving your vision. I'm sure if you tell the purpose to your team very well, I'm sure they will be supporting you in whatever journey that you want to take forward. Yeah.
Chandra, please go ahead, unmute and ask your question.
Thank you, sir. I have missed some part of your earlier talk due to another commitment. But I have heard about you, and I would like to also be in correspondence with you later. But now the question for me is, I would like to expand the company, bringing in new team members, because some of the directors are old and we would like to have younger people join the company. So in this task, I want your advice how we go about it. Like, do we just advertise or look for members from Facebook, LinkedIn, and so on? Or do we get in touch with any advisors, consultants like you to bring to us the people who will be interested in our company? And then the other question is, how do we operate on this? Do we bring them in as some CEO or CFO, etc., or do we directly invite them to come onto our board? This kind of questions I want to have clarification.
Okay, so the one is about this is the best time to hire because the amazing talents are available and with a very, very good price. Which is one of my startup recently. We hired a very good marketing head, and he was with a huge company and running a big operation. And he joined this startup, taking a huge pay cut, right? And looking towards the stock option that we've offered and give a big target for him to achieve. Similarly, we are getting a CEO for one of my other startup.
Yes.
He is coming from a huge MNC, and this crisis that you want to see how can he build up a startup, right? So this is time to get a fantastic, good talent at a good price. But the startup, these people who come and go, which will hurt you. So the necessary measures that they are understanding what startup is and effort required to take a startup forward. And if they're giving stock option, put a good what do we call a vesting cycle. That means they leave in 6 months, 1 year, they're not going to get anything.
Okay.
So they're with you long term in building because somebody lot of bells and whistles and leaving 3 months. That's 3 months a lot of time for a startup, and it could feel really bad. So don't go look at their Facebook posting and their resume alone, but people who they work with them and also explain the journey of an entrepreneur and the things that for them to pick up, and they are open to those kind of things because in a startup I call the CEO of a startup is a chief everything officer, right?
Yes.
If a CEO of a startup is chief everything officer, the person is there, he cannot ask for where is my personal assistant who's going to bring my coffee, right? No, bring your coffee, make your own coffee, right?
Yes.
This is where I think you need to set the expectation, and this is a great time to bring good talent. At the early levels, don't worry too much. Hire and utilize their support as much as possible. At times, in a senior level, think very seriously because they may hurt you as well. If they come and make some changes and they leave in 3 months, it's going to put you very badly.
Yes.
And another thing is, you ask a question about board. Don't bring anybody on the board unless you know them very well. So for that, a trick called advice. right?
What's that? I couldn't
Yeah.
hear you.
Advisor, right? Call anybody who you want to bring their board as advisor.
Yes.
And even as senior level people also call them an advisor.
Okay.
Advisor title, give them a task. When they achieve the task, and then you absorb them in a senior role or in your board, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Sounds good. Next question.
Okay, Nitya, can you go ahead, please? Okay, you have an audio issue. I'll ask. Please share your perspective on lifestyle businesses versus high potential business.
Yeah. So I always tell the entrepreneur that you define success, right? So the success should be defined by you, not by an investor, not by media. Right? So today, unfortunately, the success of an entrepreneur is defined by investor and the media. You raise 10 lakhs, the media put you in your first page, and you go jump on Facebook that, wow, I raised a lot of money. And do you think that is success? That is not, unfortunately, right? So the entrepreneurs, if you look at the India's data, there are around 33,000 startups registered with Startup India. And every year we got hardly around 500, 600 startups get funded. Around 15 billion around that, right? In that, billions include all these big guys as well. So if you move all these e-commerce guys getting this money, hardly probably 1 or 2 billion maybe towards the startup ecosystem, right? And India's GDP is a $3 trillion economy, and hardly 10 billion happens in the investment startups. So there are many millions of entrepreneurs who have no clue what incubator, what accelerator, what VC, nothing. They don't care. So that's the thing in Native Lead, right? The idea of Native Lead is about local solving local problem. And we have investors all are from our own place like Madurai, Tiruchi, Road, Karur. And all successful entrepreneurs from these regions. And them are very successful, right? And we have like 1,000 crore companies sitting in Coimbatore. They have no clue about what is VC investment, which they don't care. Right? They're built amazing products. They're selling globally, and they're doing very well without coming into the system. And so recently, that somebody, I think before the crisis, one Coimbatore company was valued $1 billion in the stock market, right? Nobody bothered because he never raised money from any VCs. No PR agency, chased them, media to put him on the front page, and he never bothered. Right? He's a first generation entrepreneur. It took him many years, and he's valued $1 billion in the stock market, and he doesn't care. Nobody's writing about him, right? So this is the attitude of an entrepreneur. Put your head down, keep, and you decide what the success is. So what we call lifestyle business is something that doesn't scale. Doesn't mean that is wrong. There are 8 million SMEs in India, which is a backbone of India. Average employees in the country is 20, right? Putting all the big corporates together, average number of employees in the country is number 20, right? That shows that this country is full of those kind of businesses, right? But the scale will be for only few, and few models only have that kind of a scale, which is also may not be sustainable. Look at many of the people who raise a lot of money, like Ola, which raised $3.2 billion, right? Which is almost the relief package announced by the government of India. First package is that much money. One company raised that much money, and 1 week of lockdown, I got a message from Ola saying that please support my drivers. I just sent them a message that you guys raised $3.2 billion, and what do you do with the money? And you're asking me to support your driver, right? Keep the business on the basis of the driver. So this investment doesn't mean that they are building a sustainable business. So that's why define success. If you have built a business which is sustaining means that what are the basic principles of business? What is the basic principle of business? There is a problem, you have a solution, you sell the solution to the person who has a problem, the problem solved, and she is paying you money, right? And if she needs to be very happy. So if you're happy, you may tell maybe 5 people, right? If you're unhappy, you will tell the whole world. So that is the number one thing that you need to focus about the customer delight. Are you having your customer happy with your solution? She's paying and she's telling 5 more people. The 5 will tell the 10, 10 will tell the 100, and you're scaling, right? Otherwise, don't worry about chasing the growth, chasing the investors, so that there is a myth that I get many, I'll get scale. There are 85 e-commerce companies received funding. Right? Can you name any of them? All gone. So money is one element of things. So, and if you are having a decent business, you are making a decent profit, you are spending more time with your family, and you're all happy. Nothing wrong in it. If media doesn't write about it, doesn't matter, right? It is about your happiness is important rather than what anyone else think about it. So that's the field that you need to have as an entrepreneur. I have seen entrepreneur. There are two kind of entrepreneur I call, right? One, it's a lifestyle entrepreneur, not your lifestyle what you're asking for. Some it's a life. The people for it's a life, they never give up. This before I've invested in IIT Chennai. So he was rejected by 25 investors when I found him in IIT. So I like his perseverance, right? I've told him that I'm going to invest in Umesh Unifor because when 25 people said that he's wrong, he never bothered. Stayed focused on his idea, his vision, and he was kept on working on it, right? And he was a 5-year-old company when I met him. So on 5 years, he never gave up. He was working on it, and after our investment, he was recognized by Time Magazine that 13 millionaires who are changing the world. Only one person from India, that is Umesh. And so he was bringing 1 billion people into digital revolution. Right? The billion people don't speak English in India. So that's what we are solving. While this 5 years he was waiting, when people were telling no, he was making his product better. He was listening to 25,000 hours of Indian voice every day. Right? He was sending messages to 40 lakh farmers every day in Tamil Nadu. They can talk, to the system using their phone. So that is what made him powerful. Seeing that John Chambers, Cisco chairman, invested money in him. And today, this Chennai company, and which we incubated IIT, it's competing with, who's competition, speech recognition, Google, Apple, and Amazon. The guys with $1 billion of R&D budget is competing with IIT Chennai space startup, right? So it is in you. Success should be within you. Don't think about success based on who's telling. So I'm in the board of another organization, Tiruchi, called Gramalaya, and we built toilets, right? Gramalaya started 40 years back. Damodaran when he was 20-year-old, right? So he was working on the sanitation toilet, building toilets back then. Years back, government of India called him and gave him a toilet titan of the country. So he was working for 30 years, 35 years before a government recognition. The problem he started working on, government recognized 5 years back, right? So that is what entrepreneurship is, right? Now he feels good. Ramal, he said that, okay, one problem solved, right? We have toilets now, let me work on next problem. So that is what life, right? For entrepreneurs, for some entrepreneur, the cost is a life. But someone, oh, okay, my batchmate, and he got 4 arrears, and he raised $2 million selling idlis. You lose your sleep, and you start creating a business plan, and you go behind the investors. That's a lifestyle kind of entrepreneur. They try 2-3 times, and nobody gives money, they'll go back to job. But in your question, when you say lifestyle business, which I mean that it's a very sustainable, a simple business, which is not scaling, right? So in Bangalore parlance, we have something called MTR restaurant. The MTR restaurant, every lunch there are 200 people standing on the line to get in. Lifestyle business. He's the leader of what he's doing. There's only one restaurant for the last 30 years. Same like your Tirunelveli Iruttukadai Alva, right? So that's your lifestyle. Doing good on whatever he's doing, and he's not looking at different. Or you have a cafe day, which is same model with 1,000 shops, right? So you can decide which one you want, but you need to define success for yourself. Okay.
Okay, interest. I'm going to read the questions out. The next one says, what is the scope of edtech startups in terms of funding?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, the 3 areas which is very promising right now. And in terms of need wise, first is health, second is essential, third is the education. The education, I know the media has or people have a tendency to add the word tech, that anything happens through the internet, we add the word tech. So the tech means that you are delivering your content through internet. So we need to realize that we are a country of poor people, right? So our average per capita income of this country is $1,800. So if you are making more than 1.5 lakh a year, you are rich in this country, right? That's the reality. And so all these people who are targeting this EdTech, the internet-based offering solution, they are targeting one small portion of the country, 50 million. 250 million, we have very good internet connection, a nice broadband, that's it, right? The rest of the country don't have a very good internet connection, right? That is why you saw Reliance is trying to leverage that potential, yeah? So education is the potential, right? EdTech means that you're targeting the smaller internet-focused entrepreneurs, which is getting crowded now, right? The same set of people is being approached by same multiple number of entrepreneurs. That's what happened in the e-commerce. Hardly 10 crore people buy online, right? 10 crore at that time. 85 e-commerce company targeting this 10 crore with offers and discounts and this and that. They killed that entire ecosystem, right? All of them gone. If Walmart does not happen, even Flipkart would have been trouble. We could have sold the keys of e-commerce to Amazon, right? So same thing will happen in this space as well, because there's a number of people will just target this segment which have access. If you need to be education, not just internet offering alone. That's what we have a wide access to the TV across the country. Can you provide your learning with television, cable TV, dish TV, satellite TV, right? Figure out medium, change the medium that you're taking education to people. If you're just relying on internet, it's already getting too crowded. Yeah. Next question.
We'll take one. Can you take a couple of more? How do you want to?
Yeah, I'm good. Wow, how much time do we have?
We are almost done. That's why I'm asking if there's about 3 or 4.
I'm good. I can take. Yeah.
You will take them. Good. There's another one called "How do you evaluate to invest in ideas which are associated to safeguard vulnerable groups against COVID-19?"
Safeguard. What is it?
Vulnerable groups.
Vulnerable groups. So what does that mean? Is it age population or is it frontline workers?
Yeah, I'll ask them to explain. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. Good evening, sir. My name is Devin. So my question
is the vulnerable group,
pregnant women.
Huh?
Pregnant women.
Oh, it's pregnant women. Okay, got it. So I think so. This people who have the high potential to receive these things, right? What we call with comorbidity, right? So that is have a higher potential than maybe a pregnant woman, right? So I've seen relatives giving birth during this crisis; they're doing very, very well, right? So what is the major problem is that whether they have other complications. This is what make things very complicated, right? So last week, my friend's family, there are 7 people out of 9 got infected, right? The first got out first was his son, 3.5-year-old son, yeah, and his father succumbed because he had other problems, right? So I think you might want to look at one is about identifying the risk level of that. Do I have a risk to get these or not? And then you define, figure out who that is, right? Is it a elderly person or is it someone else? Then you figure out solution towards those, right? It's even a pregnant woman, right? Even whether this crisis or not, they're always very cautious, right? I'm sure now they're going to be double, triple cautious around that, right? To keep, very protective. I'm sure if they have a very good family system, I'm sure they're all ensuring that safety is double, triple, and all that, right? But probably look at as generally people who are susceptible, and that is an area that you might want to look at. And can you improve your predictability of these people is where, because the point I'm worried is two problems in this virus is that one is people even tested negative are getting it in 2 days, and there is no symptoms, but they're quietly spreading it out. I think these two are a major issue than probably protecting the vulnerable. So if you're able to find anything around that, if you have a capability, if you have a skill around this, I'm sure there is something you might want to spend your time on so that that potential is increased.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Krishnan, quickly ask a question, please.
Good evening, Muthu sir, and good evening, Prakasam sir. My quick question to you is: I represent a startup company called Asper Medical Technologies, and we are also incubated with IIT Madras, STIC, MTI, and we have in the process of developing a ENT workstation, which is a standard non-COVID product, and needs around 30 lakhs, excluding the marketing expenses. And we will be developing a 3 prototypes for this. How do you suggest that? What are the different investors who will be interested in this, and how can I approach the investors? And the main USP is we are able to bring this cost of imported equipment of 85 lakhs workstation from Germany to 12 lakhs with the same features. So that is our unique selling point, sir.
I think the one is.
Can I know what are the type of investors I can get, sir?
Correct. Can you operate this product remotely, or it has to be at the location?
No, it is a non-COVID product, and it
Yeah.
will be used
Today,
by the ENT, all the ENT surgeons.
Understood. What is happening now is that people are discouraged to visit any hospital, right? Unless it's absolute necessary, you have to go to the hospital. And the example I was telling you earlier, this one family, the 7 out of 9 got it. So they went for their father some other ailment to the hospital, right? And he got it, then the entire family got it. So today most of these things are happening like these, hospital acquired these things. So right now, immediately that any product that you are helping with other ailments, which help the physician to diagnose and help patients remotely, it has a fantastic opportunity, right? Because everybody's been discouraged to come to hospital for any ailments, right? So this is where you might want to relook at quickly if it's anything is possible. You may have a great product, but is there a possibility that anything can be done using this product remotely, right? If you do that, then people will jump on it right now, because all these hospitals are hurting big time, because everything is being repurposed for the COVID related things, right? But if you're a ENT specialist, I don't think you are now getting a patient, which a number of people that you used to see before. That is where if you're able to help him with your technology to do things remotely, and the number one priority wise, people will jump in. You don't need a marketing sales. Also, the investor will get excited seeing that, wow, that you are into telehealth thing, because the telehealth it's very hard right now, because people are not mobile, and it is not advisable as well. That is one. Second, so if you are able to make this product, I think it's going to be a really good need. Then you may figure out, during this crisis, is there any other ways this can be deployed with a pilot, right? So if you're able to have one pilot running and saying that even crisis, I've sold one pilot, then people will get encouraged seeing that this product is a need, because during this time, even though priority is somewhere else, and you are able to sell this product, that people will look at, wow, something is there in the product that people are looking to buy. Yeah. So just show some activity. If you need smaller amount, probably I can go ask the IIT themselves, that see if they can help you with that. Yeah.
Okay, I think in the interest of time, I think if I keep letting the questions and keep on coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to say thank you very much, Naga. I really didn't give you much time for this session. I sort of just asked you at the start of the week, and you agreed to come on. Thank you very, very much. And one of these days, when we're back in the office, we have to get you to the new facility. I mean, it's not that new now, but you have to come then. We got about 17,000 square feet and a lot of things happening there. More than about 200 to 300 people work out there every day. So it'll be a really happening place. So we'll hope to have you there one of these days. I thank you on behalf of the team, Pajista, Sumitra, Archana, and Alpini. Thank you very much for supporting us as always. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you,
Sure.
sir.
Thank you, everyone. All the best.
Thank you.